Now we will start the installation process. Place the wheel and the tire in the tire install machine, secure it, and pop up the upper lip of the tire. We are going to install a 20-inch FlatsOver system inside the tire. First, apply the water-based tire lube to the inner surfaces of the FlatsOver so it can rotate later when secure to the wheel. Make sure the locking mechanism is facing upwards when inserting inside the tire open cavity. Next, begin closing the steel cables. Place the FlatsOver inside the tire air cavity and align the tire pressure sensor with the FlatsOver TPS notch. Then, locate one locking nut and the tire install bar to pull up the system, and then with the wrench, close down 2 to 3 clicks. Next, rotate the wheel and locate the other locking mechanism and repeat the process. A useful tip is to tape the 18mm hex socket to the extension to prevent it from falling under the wheel. It is important to close down the cables evenly, so we will close 2 clicks on one side, then switch to close 2 clicks on the other side. Different wheel brands will have slightly different circumferences, so the FlatsOver system will either present different gap space at the end of the installation or will be completely closed. We have reduced the space between the FlatsOver halves by 2 to 3 inches per side, and now we will keep closing the gap with 1 click or 2 per side. The system is now tight around the wheel. Let us proceed to align the system with the inner flange or bead of the wheel. Start where the valve is, and then pry up the system with the bar. Turn the wheel and repeat the adjustment until you reach the starting point. Make sure that the TPS is not being pressed by the FlatsOver during the installation process, as pushing the TPS can damage the sensor. The next step is to switch to the torque wrench. This tool must be set up to 116 pounds force per foot. Use the same extension and socket. When closing the final clicks with the torque wrench, be careful to apply force horizontally and not lean up or downwards. A balanced closing process is key. Try 1 click per side until the torque reaches the desired goal. Check that the edges of the system are aligned, as well as the peak and receiving end. It is okay to reach the final torque of 116 pounds force per foot and still have some space between the 2 halves of the system. Half an inch or less is considered within the tolerance allowed. Do a final check on the TPS, making sure it is loose with no obstructions. We have completed the installation of the FlatsOver safety band, and we can now proceed to reinstall the tire. The recommended balancing weights are not to exceed 3.5 ounces.